Hello everyone, welcome to Channel Peace with me. Today is February 4th and I just got back from my jog, and I have to thank Jerry or whomever told me this, because I think what I got on my jog was just fascinating. There's another word I like to use, but I can't remember what it is now, and I want to get into this because I don't want to forget it now. So now I see and I understand why, or I'm getting to see, more and more is coming to me as to why that diametrically opposed was so, it came to me when I first woke up. I hope this comes across as it came across in my mind when I was jogging. So layers, first I put just let all your yanks exist and then remember them. Now remember, there's a difference between remember and then remember with the dash in it, okay? Remember without a dash between the R and the E is just to remember something in your head. It's all in thought, not in the physical. When you put re-member, you're remembering things back together into the physical. So just keep that in mind. So in this layers acronym, we're just letting all the yanks. Now all these yanks are all these things that ever pulled us. Like you have a feeling and it pulls you to do this, it pulls you to do that. That's what I mean about yanks right now, okay? And let them exist in your remembering, in your mind. They don't necessarily have to exist in the physical body or in the real world. Now if they do, that's fine. And what I've been working on recently, let me show you. Is I have the toothpaste, and I've said to people before that if you're trying to get the last bit of toothpaste out of a jar or out of a tube, it's extremely difficult. And so they're like feelings. I relate them to feelings. If I open this, it's closed now, and oh, is it closed? Oh, it's not closed. If I press it hard, it can all come shooting out. But as it gets to the very last bit of toothpaste in there, it's very hard to squeeze it out. So it's very hard to squeeze out those last pieces of feeling. So now and I've been working on this for quite a while, thinking maybe you're not supposed to get out the last bit of feelings, right? You just want to keep a little bit in there so that you can remember it. And if you can't, it'll poke you. Oh yeah, okay, I remember that feeling. Okay, let's just keep it in its nice place where it belongs and not let it run havoc in your body, right? So let's just keep that in mind. So that's what these yanks are. You kind of keep them there, if that makes sense, right? Because I talk a lot about releasing all your feelings so you can get to your emotion, and that's fine. But I think when we get to this diametrically opposed in this circle, you see what I mean, hopefully. So we listen. So originally it was let all yanks exist, so let them all be there, right? Even if it's just in your remembering, or not necessarily in the putting it back together in the physical world, and recall it reverently, and then I started putting all these words in because I love it. Recall reverently, solemnly, sincerely to the self and the soul. So in other words, just it's so important to do who you truly are as a soul or as a core person, or as what you've decided to be in this lifetime, okay? Whether it be the 3 V's or not being the 3 V's, or I've cracked my back. Okay, so let me not get off the subject. So what I mean by this, if I could show it on a physical level, let me see if I could do it. As I've spoken before, you have a circle, and cycles happen. And I may not have said this out loud in specific terms, but the way I believe it, because I've noticed the same cycles of same kind of events can happen to me over and over and over again. But each time, let's just say, you experience it a little differently. Okay? And say there's, just for the kicks of it, there's 360 degrees, so there's 360 experiences you can have in the same circle or cycle or event. Okay? So, and let's just say all of them are yanks, all of them are layers, different yanks. Let's just say instead of layers, they're all different yanks. This is a yank, this is a yank, here's a yank, and they're all different feelings and let's just say feelings and experiences. When it comes to diametrically opposed, like this is like we said the other day, is diametrically opposed is this is the diameter. So it connects this degree here to this degree here. So this feeling or this experience, and they're just diametrically opposed. So this is the diametrically opposed. So here's the diameter. This point and this point are diametrically opposed. Okay, remember their feelings. So if you yank on all of these, let's just say, now this one, let's just say this one connects this one, and I'm just pulling a few, any of them. This one connects this one. Ooh, let me draw it. And again, here are the diametrically opposed feelings or points. Let's draw one more. Let's see. Here's this one to, let's just say this one, and you draw a diameter, etc., etc. Now, if you notice when I'm drawing here, what's happening? I know there's nobody here to answer me. But what's happening, let's draw this one out here, okay, is if you go to a different layer, and it's kind of like all squished together, right? But if we take a different circle or another circle and we draw it this way, all of a sudden we've gone to being this smaller circle to this larger circle in existence, if that makes sense. And then if we play this out even more, these diametrically opposed points now have moved from here and here to here and here. And now we're more. And inside of all of this is also this matrix. I hope this really comes out. This, I think it's like a matrix, which I had done before. Say we have this matrix. Remember, we have the peace, the love, the joy, and all of that stuff. But let's just say we have that. And I did do this in another video where I have to post. If you look at all of these different layers, here, let's just say, is a point in time. Here's another point in time. Here's a different point in time, etc. Here's a different point in time. But you can superimpose this over here, and it'll be the same point in time. So let's see, if I don't want to draw because I don't want to ruin my circle, but actually I can. So let's just draw it for the kicks of it. Okay, so... And these relate to the points on how you've necessarily experienced this vibrational scale on a specific cycle or event that's happening in your life, okay? Because you could have been joyful about it at one point, you could have been apathetic about it at some point, you could have loved it, you could have felt guilty about it, and then you do it, in this case, in each either lifetime or event in your life. So say this is relationships, say this is finances, these are friends, family, I'm just making up anything. And eventually when you throw it all together, and I was also woke up this morning and I said, I'm going to do ABCs on math, because I love math. So, but if you look at these are all mathematical things also. You can totally relate these to mathematical things, okay? But anyway, let me get back to the point. So again, if you notice, if you now experience something else, let's just say here on this line that runs into here, and you do it, now I'm going to run out of room, but let's just say in a circular way, again, and then you experience it out here, right? These are, again, not necessarily those are, but let's just draw the, I can't draw the, so again, this is like a feeling. Let's just say this is a feeling or an expression. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to call these points yet, but then you have your diametrically opposed one here, etc. And then I want to draw a different line. So say you have one here, and I guess down here. I'm not really good at drawing, but again, this is a diameter, and you're pulling and yanking this again. And now when you do that, you make an even bigger circle of who you are. I hope that makes sense. So, in other words, when we want to be more and more and more and more and more, we have to listen, because it's important to listen. And you go back to my listening acronym. When I was walking home, I thought I have to put listen in there because there was a point to listen. Now I can't remember what it is, but it doesn't matter. If you go back to the acronym I have for listen, you'll get it. But even so, it's you let all the yanks exist. So let them all be there. And then remember, okay, let's see, which one do I want to be now? And then recall reverently, solemnly, sincerely, based on yourself and your soul, right? And when you do that, you'll expand. You'll go from being a small dot here, let's just say in the middle, to all these degrees. You'll experience all these different degrees, and then you'll experience all these different degrees. But the point of letting all the yanks exist is that, let me show you another thing. If you don't let it be diametrically opposed, then what's going to happen is you're only going to pull in a linear way, right? So let's just say this is the point. and this is the feeling, like somewhere on here, or here. Let me see if I could do it with a circle. Let's just assume there's a circle there, and say here's a feeling or a yank. If you don't do this side, right, what you're doing from here is you're just pulling and yanking this way, and it's not bad. It's not bad or wrong. It just is. Then you're only being linear. Does that make sense? And it's fine if you're only being linear. That's basically what a lifetime is. A certain level of conscious and awareness for many people is linear. Okay, so it's linear. I hope I spelled it linear. I don't know. I think that's right. So there are many people in the world, let's just say, for example, who don't believe in past lives, who live their life linearly. They only pull in this direction. Now, because I say, for example, I believe in past lives, and I have related my past lives to my linear present life, right? And because of that, and I've been able to look back, I can now have diametrically opposed experiences. Because I can remember the past life, and I can remember, and you live this life, and you still can remember or move forward in this life. And the further, I'm just assuming this now, because now I'm just assuming. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I believe one of the lives I'm working on now is like a 1600s life. Like, I'm not sure, whenever the Red Baron was out, those types of planes, I don't remember when it was, because I'm not really good at history, the 20s, 30s, 40s, I don't know, those Red Baron type, the Red Baron type planes, I don't know when they were. I think they were in the 1900s, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Then we have the 1800s or I think it was 1800s. That was my good life, let's just say. And this was my bad life, the Red Baron, when I was a pilot. Now I believe I'm working on the 1600s life, where I was wealthy and I had whatever. I didn't even see this life. A friend of mine saw that life. So if I can remember this good life, and I can remember this other past life, and I can apply that to this life, I can still keep that energy. I hope this makes sense, of that remembering, this remembering, not this remembering. This remembering is this life, okay, the present day life. This is the present. I can't spell it. I get present. And this is the past. And if I can remember both these sides, I have this diametrically opposed energy. Let's call it an energy that pulls this way, and now all of a sudden I've expanded who I am. Does that make sense? Because if I'm just living linear, so people who don't believe in past lives, for example, live linearly. They just believe this is this year, this is yesterday, this is yesterday, this is yesterday, this is this year, and that's pretty much it. And it goes on and on and on. But if you connect those to your past lives, you can expand your understanding and who you've been. If you believe in past lives or remember the past lives, all of a sudden your awareness is so much bigger. This is so fascinating to me. Anyway, and the reason why this is important is because then if you have a larger choice from which to recall, you're basically who you can express in a specific moment in time, like these right here, are endless. They're infinite. It's the infinity. It's wow. Oh my gosh, I gotta turn that off. So it's infinity. Now, I'm not gonna, and right in this video, I don't think I'm gonna get off the track as to why this is important, but I think this is so important to understand. That's why it's so important to understand your past lives, because if you understand your past lives, it really puts into perspective the bigger picture. People who don't believe in past lives, all they're looking at, all they're seeing is this one little moment in time. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with anything. But if you can remember, and it's like, for people who don't believe in past lives, all I try to tell them is, you believe in this lifetime, right? You believe that you're alive in this lifetime. And you have this year, I don't know, whatever year you're in, I'm going to say 40th year, and then your 39th year, your 38th year, your 37th, and God willing, you live to 40, 41, 42, 50, 60, and so on. And then most everybody who's an adult on earth now can understand and comprehend, right, that there is this linear life in this lifetime. Now, a 5-year-old may not, because they don't maybe know time. Maybe a 2-year-old does not, because they don't comprehend time yet, right? And maybe they're the ones that are right, right? Maybe the 2-year-olds don't comprehend time, but the ones that are really real, right? Are true. It's really true. But all you have to do is, when you define a life from your birth to your death, all you're really truly defining is the life of this physical incarnation. That's it. You are missing the whole point of yourself and your soul in other incarnations. And I tell people, you're not wearing the same, well, I sometimes am, but you're not wearing the same clothes that you wore 10 years ago. You're not driving in the same car that you drove 10 years ago. And so your soul is not living in the same body as it lived in, in past lives. That's all. It's the only difference. It's just about expanding your idea that life and your existence is not limited to the moment this body was born and brought to earth, that became a being. That would be my, I don't want to get into that acronym, to the time this vehicle decays and dies, when your soul decides to leave. I can guarantee you, a lot of people who don't believe in past lives believe there's a heaven, because a lot of people are, have religions, and most religions, I believe in an afterlife. So if you're in an afterlife, first of all, who's going to the afterlife? We all know it's not your body. The point is that you are more, I don't know where I was going with this. I hate when I go on a tangent sometimes. We were talking about this body. Okay, so most people believe that there is an afterlife. And if you don't, and you think you're dead, then that's fine, and there's nothing exists, and this whole thing is really maybe not going to be part of what you understand. But I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I should let it go here. Let me see what they sing in the road. I wrote here, so yank all degrees on a circle so you can expand. Okay, I explained that. You pull each side so that if you can even imagine opening up something that's folded and only pulling on one side, it's not going to work. If everybody gets in a circle and starts pulling outward, it becomes this big expansion, right? If it's in a circle form, if it's cut in a different form, it's not, obviously not going to work. So the yank in all the degrees on a circle so you can expand. And then if you only yank on one side of the diameter, so if you only yank on one side of the diameter, so this way, you get pulled in a linear way. Okay, I said that. If you yank on both ends of the diameter, I don't know what I wrote here. I can't read it. Something about if I yank on both ends, but you get it. If you yank on both ends of the diametrically opposed on all the degrees, that's when then you expand. Okay, so I think I said that. So, balance. That is why you must expand all degrees. So on a circle, you can expand. I can't read what that says. But okay, so that goes back to what I think I said in the beginning. This is why in a cycle or in a circle of an event, you have to experience all degrees. I never understood that necessarily, other than the fact of just the experience of it. But now I understand that if you do not experience 360 degrees in the circle of the experience, just imagine each degree is a different way you've experienced something. So if I've been in this situation 4 times, and each time my experience was a little different, that means I can have all of these, right? And the reason why I always really honor this relationship is because when it's the same person, at least one of the variables in the equation has not changed. The person's the same, and it makes it easier to observe it and to make conclusions from it, because you can't say, well, that person had a totally different personality than person A. So it really helps sometimes when it's one person, because then you're like, oh, I remember that time. Still the same person. Now the person may be different, but not every variable can be the same, but whatever. So it really, really helps to make distinctions and to make observations and see how different you are, because you know it's the same person and you've been different, or the other person's been different. But anyway, the point being, very important point here, if you don't experience the 36 degrees when you're trying to pull diametrically opposed, one side, it's not going to expand as a circle. It's going to be maybe like this, for example, because you've pulled only on this end and on this end. And that's fine, but what's happening to all these other points of expansion that we could be? Okay, I hope this is not getting too complicated, but I think that's it. I think I'll leave it off that for now. Okay. Very important. We are going to still be working on this diametrically opposed. Okay, I'm going to turn off the video and come back because I'm going to put the other acronyms that I got today when I was running that wasn't just layers. Okay, thanks. Thank you very much. Channelpeacewithme.com. If you're interested in being in my focus group or my test group for my urgent program and working on the law of authority, please email me. Thanks. I knew I was going to forget something. Okay, so just as much as here as you have the present and the past, this still is a linear line, even though it's just going in one direction if you believe in the present only and you don't believe in the past. So that's where the whole vibrational scale comes in also. If you can feel this to this, now you've created the other diametrically opposed. I guess that's really what we had talked about before, and we never talked about the past and the present. So you're making the circle and the expansion by having the past and the present diametrically opposed, the vibrational scale of shame to enlightenment, and then, like I said, everything else is whatever, like, so say I drew the circle around this particular, these are quadrants, right? But this particular linear, these lines here, like this, if we drew it around here, then you have your ups and downs. And to a degree, no pun intended, I'm working on this now, but if you have all these different, like I said, relationships, different aspects of it, that's how you can get to the other degrees also. But I spoke in other videos about that swinging back and forth, and again, this proves, or this kind of, not proves because I'm not trying to prove it, but this kind of explains why those aren't terrible, right? Because when you swing, back and forth, and again, if I didn't say it before, when you swing this way, you're being a certain way. Then a lot of people then swing this way. It's like a pendulum. So your feelings, let's just say this side is good and this is bad, right? Let's just say that. So you could swing, like, you're not always staying in a good place. You could sometimes swing to a bad place, etc. So when you have that swinging, right, you're basically at each point of the swing, you are covering each degree on that arc, right? And then when you turn it into a vicious cycle or a virtuous cycle, either way, then you're really covering every degree on the circle, every experience on the circle. So when you experience every degree on the circle and you can remember them and yank on them, you have that diametrically opposed, I hope this really makes sense, that diametrically opposed yanks, right? From this point to this point, and you can expand, whether it be this circle, and now it's this circle, and so on and so on. So I hope that makes sense. Like I said, I just had to come back to explain not only the linear side to it, but the circular side and the up and down side. Okay, so all of these points, in other words, all of these different feelings, notions, emotions, etc., are important because they allow you to plot. Well, I always love that word. They allow you to plot each point on this grid, which creates basically the point at which you can be diametrically opposed to something else. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, thank you. If it doesn't, please ask or put a comment in below, and I'll try to answer it the best I can. Thank you. Bye. Hi, everybody. Okay, so today, still the 4th, I'm actually upstairs editing the video that I just did that I'm going to attach this video to, because I noticed when I was editing it that there's like a technical mistake because I'm really a bad drawer. So let me just say, ooh, oh, that's not cool. That's my Sharpie. Oh, it does come off. Well, I guess Sharpies aren't that good. Okay, great. But anyway, that would have been funny, and I would have been able to prove something, But anyway, let me not get off on a tangent. So let's just say this is the core of who you are, and this is what I was doing. And what I was doing is drawing those circles. Oh, now I don't know what's going on. And that diametrically opposed part. And when I noticed that when I started to draw diameters, sometimes I was mistakenly, just because I'm not good at drawing, like missing the center. And you can't do that. That's not math. When you do a diameter, in other words, this is not a diameter. So when you see the video, just realize when I miss the core or the center, it's not what I try. It's not what I really mean. I really mean for this line to be a diameter. Okay, that's one thing. It's just a technical error, but I just want to make sure people understand that. The second thing I wanted to say is, I know this is maybe a lot of things I do is a lot, but if I haven't said it before, you're meant to just take it for what it is at the moment. Just try to understand that particular point, and eventually you'll put it all together in your life. So in other words, if you get what I'm saying about this video I'm editing, and I'll attach this one too at the diametrically opposed, if you get that the whole expansion idea, you may say, so what? But because I say that, I'm like, yeah, so what? Great idea, great profound idea, but how is it going to fit into my life? So eventually you'll pull from it when you're in your life, I promise you, and you'll be like, oh, and it'll just remind you of something.